G'day guys, I just wanted to share my thoughts in a short video about the issue of abortion and the idea that the embryo which grows into a fetus, which grows into a child that is then either born or not carried to full term and is not born, or any other possibilities like a stillborn child or something like that. It is not actually just the product of the female body. The female body, or the female reproductive system, scientifically, biologically, carries an egg, and that egg cannot grow into an embryo, which then becomes a fetus, which then becomes a baby by itself. It needs to be fertilized by male sperm from the male body. So it's actually a combination of the male reproductive system, the sperm, and the female reproductive system, the egg. Once those two things merge together, that then becomes an embryo, which can grow into a fetus, which then grows into, a matured baby, which then the mother would give birth to. So just scientifically, biologically, it is not purely the mother's body. Part of it comes from the mother's body, but part of it is also from the male body. So that would give rise to a legal right for not only the woman, but also the man, not only the mother, but also the father, should legally both have legal rights in relation to whether a fertilized egg, which becomes an embryo and then a fetus and so on, can be at some stage terminated. Both parents should have a legal right over that because it's both of their bodies. That seems pretty obvious to me, scientifically, biologically, from that perspective. It's also a separate and unique individual. The embryo that turns into a fetus is already a pre-created, pre-designed personality at conception. It's a full personality. That embryo will mature into a person that has a unique and individual personality that is in many ways separate and distinct from their biological parents. It's a unique individual. So what a mother has conceived in her is already at conception a unique individual that is distinctly separate in many ways from both its biological parents. So that the embryo is already a unique individual person, which legally would have its own rights. So if you go down the legal argument, it's not just about the woman's body. It's got to do with both parents. Then it's got its own individual personality of its own. So there would be three sets of rights you have to consider. The right of the father, the right of the mother, the right of the unborn embryo, fetus or infant. So there's three sets of legal rights there, not just one. Okay, so at the least, if you were to have some sort of legal concept of, abortion, it would at least require the consent of both parents. And they would have to consider the rights of the unborn child in their decision-making process. Or a law court would have to consider the rights of the unborn child in that process as well. And this is without going into the next level of the debate, which is that all children are God's children. That's right. He is the ultimate father of all of us. Whether you believe that or not is a matter for yourself, but that is what we receive from the scripture. There's a Bible passage that says, "You knit me together in my mother's womb." And this incredibly matches exactly what happens to an unborn fetus. It is literally knitted together. Its DNA is knitted together to form a unique and individual personality, the merger of two personalities, or two sets of DNA. The scripture tells us that. We're knitted together. We are a personality formed from the combination of our parents' DNA, knitted together in our womb. So we are morally, by definition, God's children as well. So that gives rise to the concept of a moral decision. Do we have the right to terminate God's children before they're born? Well, God would say, "Thou shalt not kill." That comes from his moral law. And morality, by definition, comes from God's law. There is no such thing as morality without involving God's law. That's what it's based on. It's not based on any human conceptions. It is, by definition, based on God's laws, God's idea of what's right and wrong, as defined by the Ten Commandments. So it then becomes a moral decision. Then the question is, okay, does a government have the right to make moral decisions? Well, we'd have to say at some level, yes, they do, because they're already making moral decisions on a lot of issues. And God gives authority to worldly powers and authorities. He does give them authority. And that authority stems ultimately from him. He's telling us that, we need to abide by the laws in this world, because the people that he appoints in positions of authority are appointed by him. They are agents of wrath in this world, agents of wrath. So, not only do we have to abide by the laws that are made by mankind, but we should also abide by the laws that are made by God, the moral laws that are set down by God. And God is clearly telling us, do not kill. So once a child is conceived in its mother's womb as a child of God, we are under God's legal obligation to do everything we can to see that that child lives and has the opportunity to have a full life. It's a full, unique, individual person. God says they should live. Do not kill them. So, this is a very tough thing for people to have to come to realize. But I have to say it again. It's not just your body being the female body. It's not just your body. God bless you. And I pray that you make the right decisions.